Welcome everybody to the elevator. I got my brother here, my friend, my mentor, my everything. So he's taught me a lot throughout the years and stuff that I'm continuing to learn. And I would think that it's going to bring a lot of value to you guys. Talk about business, talk about his journey, and I know it's going to bring a lot of value for you guys. This is Bill Haberman. For those of you that don't know him, you're gonna get to know him a little bit more here. I'm sure that he's famous, at least in my eyes. But it's an amazing story. So we're gonna be talking about it a little bit. We're in the lobby. And welcome. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and get notified. And we're gonna be going up the elevator. Are you ready, Bill, to go to level one?
I'm ready, man. Let's go.
All right,
Let's
let's
get in the
go.
elevator.
Do, 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 do. Here we go. So we on level one, and this level, Bill, is called the gallery.
All
So in
right.
the gallery, I'm gonna bring some pictures up, and I want you to share with the people, share with us what they mean to you. Each picture, what story behind it, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Looking forward to it, man.
All right, here we go. So tell me
Hopefully
a
I
little
do
bit
you
about this
proud.
one. Tell me a little bit about this one.
So this is what it's all about, man. This is my family. This is my wife, my daughter. This is a great picture because for me, because we're relaxed, we're happy. It's one of those. It's a later in my life photo of that represents where I'm at today. I'm
Mm,
at peace. I'm happy. My family's happy. We enjoy hanging out together, and a lot of that is all that is what really matters. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But those are the moments. Those are the things that you work hard for. You do things for. You make mistakes for. You try
mm.
new things for, and hopefully at the end of the day, you're all smiling in the picture.
There you go. We always got to be smiling in the picture. And what's amazing is that
Absolutely.
it's genuine. Some people laugh in the picture, but then the cameras go off and they're not laughing. So knowing you, I see that you who you are in pictures, in videos, out of pictures. You are who you are, and that's one of the things I love about you.
I try, man. Thank you.
So here we go. How about this one, Bill?
So that's it. Those are the girls, man. Same thing. On the right's my wife, going on 30 years now. Been through a whole bunch of stuff together. Again, still smiling, which is surprising. But and then my daughter. My daughter is everything. And that's what I'm killing myself for. That's what I'm working hard for. Those two people in that picture.
That's amazing. And I have, four kids myself, and I know how important it is to sacrifice, how important it is, to put them first. Sometimes when I don't want to do something, obviously I'm gonna just push myself because I have bills to pay, I have kids to take care of, and I have to bring food. So how important is that to you, as far as like family or that drive that you have to have for your kids?
It's huge, and my wife as well. It's like I said, as you move through life, as you particularly as a business person, and you move on into your career, you're motivated by a lot of different things. Early on, obviously, when you're not married, you don't have kids, your motivations are different.
Hmm.
But there's one constant, once you get married, it all changes. Once you have a kid, I think I might have even texted you at one point when you had your first one. I said, game changer. This
Yep,
is
you
it, man.
did. I remember, and
you,
it's been changing ever
you
since.
you just dialed it up, right? So now, I only have a couple to worry about, man. You got a whole squad. You got a whole hoop team that
Oh,
you
I'm
got to worry
sweating.
about.
I'm sweating
So
like
God
crazy,
bless you,
but
man.
thank you, man. But it
But
keeps me
that's what that
going.
is too, man. It's a good representation of what's important, and not the only thing. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are important, but that's a key, and it's absolutely a motivator. When I'm done here, when my time's up, I'm hoping that I left it a better place, and I'm hoping I left it a better place for them.
Absolutely. And I see your daughter here. Talk a little bit about this picture. Where's it from?
Just another great photo. Great spirit, great soul, great kid. Proud of her, proud of what she's become. All the steps have been great, been fun. people say, "Oh, what was your favorite, time in her life?" And it seems like the next one's always going to be better than the last one. It just keeps
Absolutely.
getting better, and it grows and it changes. And that's just it's just one of my favorite pictures of her. Again, nothing you could want more than have your kid happy and smiling and enjoying herself. And for my wife and I, it's really important that she still likes hanging out with us, still has fun with us, still wants us around. Um, Again, not everybody has that, and I'm extremely blessed that I have that.
Absolutely. And Bill, let me ask you, is it
Yeah.
easier when they're younger or is it easier when they're older, or kind of like you just have to kind of adjust, or what your by your experience, like how does that been? Because I got little ones.
Yeah, easier is probably not the way to describe it. It just
Okay.
changes. It's different, completely different. You go from somebody that's 100% reliant on you to slowly becoming, independent, becoming an adult. You see those changes in them. Hopefully they're positive ones. In my case, they have been. And that's all you can hope for. That's what you want. You want your kid to be the kind of kid you're proud of, and the people that meet her are proud of, and she's that and more.
That's awesome. So listen, this one is as well. I think is I don't know if when you're getting married or what was this for?
Oh, so
Was this
that's
when she was a little one?
yeah, yeah. So I didn't do a great job of putting these in order for you. I apologize for that, but
No, you're good.
yeah. Yeah, that was the father-daughter dance. So that was my, first father-daughter dance. Again, my wife was involved in that. She actually organized that with another mother in celebration, the first father-daughter dance celebration. And that was her and I getting ready, and her putting the corsage on for me.
There you
So
go.
that was a
So
that was a great memory.
that's
And
amazing.
again, everything changes, at that point. Dad's pretty cool, that changes. Hopefully it changes back. It
Oh my
did.
God.
But at that point, dad's pretty cool guy,
Yep,
going
yep.
to the dance with pops. That's all right. That was a great memory.
Okay, so you got another one here. Then I'll show you what was this from?
So that was our 25th anniversary. My wife and I, that was a big day for us, big time for us. It's actually up in northern Michigan. Another story about family. We had talked about where we're going to go on our 25th anniversary. We had planned it out, or we could go back to where we honeymooned or do something special. I asked a lot of people where's the best place they visited, where they've been. I really wanted to do something great. And my niece, who was actually our flower girl in our wedding, decided she was getting married 3 days after our 25th anniversary in northern Michigan.
Oh my God.
So our trip, this became a trip to go see my first niece's wedding.
Yep.
And so we went to a hotel, the 130-year-old hotel called the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island. It's like going back in time, which is also kind of an appropriate thing, I thought, because you're 25 years in, you've been through a lot, you've seen a lot. That hotel's been through a lot, seen a lot, and so it was a special place to celebrate that. And
Absolutely.
again, genuine smiles in that picture.
I love that picture, man. It looks very professional, very nice. You suited up. I like
Much
it.
better than tonight. I
I
look like a
love it.
bum tonight. But
So you mentioned Michigan. So this must come to mind as well. What's this all about?
oh, that's the Olivet Eagles, man. You threw a new one at me. So I didn't
That's
give you that one.
Michigan.
So that was my high school. My high school when I was growing up. We grew up in a town. We grew up in a town that was a blinking yellow light in central Michigan.
Uh-huh.
Have lifelong friends from there, people that I've known, since I've been in sixth grade. We get together now, and it's like we not like we didn't miss a beat, you know.
That's
Still
right.
telling the stories get better though, you're a little thinner, you could
It's
jump a
true.
little higher, you're a little better.
So you
But
Michigan, and that was high school. So I know you went here as well,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
So
So
University of Michigan. So that's a great spot for me too. Great memories. I went there for graduate school for business. I went there for law school, and I really I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was a challenge. It was positive. It was a great experience for me, and it was just one of those things you look back on, and you never want to go back because everything you want what you're doing to be great, and it is.
exactly.
But you always kind of think back and go, man, those are good years. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Met some great, interesting people. Got to know the Fab Five for the basketball fans out there. Met the Fab
Come
Five
on,
there.
the best ones.
Spent some time with those guys, which was some interesting times. And it's just one of those things. You're growing, you're learning, you're young. You think you're going to go conquer the world, and a place like that gives you that kind of confidence. And there's just great memories, great people there.
Awesome. So, Bill, tell me how important this one is for you.
That's awesome. So it's my mom and dad. Um, so, mentors and, people that influence you in your life, I'm very, very fortunate that those two people were my parents.
That's
Both
right.
still alive, 83, just got off the phone with them.
That's amazing.
And yeah, and again, you can just see that's going on 60 years of marriage, maybe just past 60 years of
You
marriage in
there?
that picture.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
And looks like they still enjoy hanging out together.
They look like, hey, you set a perfect example with your wife, and I see it. I see it in those pictures that you have, and I know they've been a great example for you.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna read you something real quick. This is something I sent my dad on Father's Day a couple years ago, and it kind of sums up, and it's about my mom too. I happened to do it for my dad on his birthday. I mean, on Father's Day or his birthday. But anyway, what I told him was, I said, you taught me to keep my head down when I work and keep my head up when nothing seems to be working. Play hard, play to win, always play by the rules. Treat everybody well, even when it's not returned. Taught me how to love, respect my mother, my wife, my daughter, and myself, and always do the right thing when it's not convenient or not.
That's amazing.
And people say, because I look a little bit like my old man,
Yeah, absolutely.
People say, "Oh, you're more and more like your dad every day," and I always say, "Thank you. I hope so."
That's right. I know it's amazing, and I can hear it in you that it's so important to you. And this is the type of things that I definitely want people to take with them. That we for those of us that we're grateful that we have our fathers, we have our moms, and we're raised with them, and we take something, we bring it to life, right, in our lives, and we want to set an example, and we want to be able to make them proud, right? And I know that's so important that for you to share, that moment with you, and that you've learned, and the things that you learned from your dad and from your mom. I think it's important for the youth now, and even anybody in general, to take it with you, make them proud, but also, pass it on, right? That's what we're doing right now. We're passing it on for
Absolutely.
those of you, so that they can also gain those values, even if they didn't have their parents. They can hear it and also put it in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was going to mention that, like I said, I was very fortunate, very blessed that it is my, it's the traditional family. It's my mother and father, and they're still married. Obviously, an unbelievable example to me, my wife, my daughter, my biggest fans, my biggest supporters, my mentor, my counselor, my coach,
That's right.
but it doesn't have to be your dad. It doesn't have to be your mom. It could be somebody else that takes an interest in you. And it doesn't have to be the traditional route. The more important thing is that you are accepting of what people like that are willing to do for you and want to help you. It's an unconditional thing, which is rare, but it's invaluable. If you can find it, hold on to it. If you can find people in your life that will give you unconditional love and support, pick you up when you're down, bring you down when you're too high.
Yep, that's important.
It's huge in your development going through for everything, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business, whether it's your failure in a business, your success. Having that it's irreplaceable.
And you had shared something with me, Bill, and I kind of wanted you to talk about it. A few things here. So the first one is this one. So I want you to talk a little bit about this one. What is this? What does this mean?
So, this is a general, this is, it's Mike Tyson. So you think, probably not the guy you're going to get one of your most inspirational quotes from,
Yeah,
but in fact it is, right? So in life, you set out, I certainly did. I set out with all these plans and goals. And I mean, I didn't have it written down, but I didn't have to write it down. I had it
Come on.
memorized. And I was taking steps almost always on a very specific path, right? And I thought I had it figured out. If I just do A, B, C, D, and E, I'm going to get to the spot I want to go, whatever it was, whether it was business wise, whether it's family, whatever. And Mike Tyson, it's a famous quote. Mike Tyson said, "Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth," right? And so
Everything
it's great.
changes.
It's a great quote. It talks about being willing to adapt. It talks about getting knocked down. It talks about things not going your way, and you got to persevere. You got to keep pushing through that. So Mike Tyson's got another funny quote too, which just recently, and I'm obviously a Mike Tyson fan. So,
Yeah.
but Mike Tyson recently, he said somebody asked him about being the smartest guy in the room, and he said, "If I'm the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room."
Exactly. No, that's
So
bad. That's crazy.
I
It makes
use that.
sense.
I've stolen that one from Mike too. I use that once in a while too.
That is amazing. And then that's how I think that's how it's supposed to be. Like I love to be in places, where I'm like actually like the, not the smartest one in the room, you know what I mean? Because you get to be like a sponge. And not only that, you grow from them and you can also, obviously be like a sponge and then pass it on to someone else. And those is very important. Even in business, I believe, Bill, I think that's important. If if I may ask you, how important is it for the people that you have to not necessarily be smarter than you, but unless be an expert in what they do specifically, and you may not be the expert in their niche.
Well, it's absolutely critical as you grow a business, as you add employees, as you build a team. I mean, building a team of people that are less talented than you and or can't do certain things is a recipe for failure, frankly. The best managers, the best leaders, and I don't consider myself one of those. I mean, people that are some of the best business leaders and minds in history will tell you that you find people that are great at what they do and you get out of their way, and you find people that are better than you at each of the things that are going to be required for your success, and you foster that, you develop that, you build that, you get them, and then you empower them to do what they need to do and can do, so that you're not limited by only what your limited skill set might provide in terms of your overall success. So building a team, managing people, managing a team of 80 or 100 people, absolutely critical thing to do.
That's awesome. All right, Bill. So this is awesome. Those are the pictures that I have for now. I have the other one we're going to be sharing at the end.
Yeah, we'll save that one
I'm
for
gonna
the
save that one, but
yeah, let's save
this is
that one for the
awesome. So
roof,
let's
man.
go to number two. This level two that we're about to go to, let's just get there first. Hold on one second. Where's the button at? Here it goes.
Awkward silence.
Yes,
There we go.
hidden talents. So this is level two, everybody. So this hidden talent specifically, I want you to share a little bit about what people don't know about you. Not even me, because I know different things you do, from golfing, business. You have amazing businesses. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit, and things that you're part of. But tell me something that people don't know, I may not know, and people, don't know about you. Any hidden talents?
You sent me this question, and I don't know if I am comfortable talking about it in the context of talent. I don't know that it's talent necessarily.
Okay.
I think talent is mostly earned, not earned, learned skill, through experience, through hardship, through perseverance. And so, whether that's something people know about me or not, I certainly believe that has been critical to my not just business success, but certainly my success with relationships and friendships and things like that. And I think that's how you're really measured at the end of the day, in my mind, is how many friends you still have, how many, you got enough guys to carry the casket, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah.
when it's all over, right? And
Yep.
so I think I get better at it. I try to get better at it. It's a work in progress for sure. but identifying the characteristics in people to build a team, identifying being willing and humble enough to let somebody who's better than you delegate something to them and let them run with it, and fostering that, bringing them up, helping them in the way that you can with what you might know or be able to do, where it's supplementing what they're doing. It's not they're not mimicking you, or they're not learning all of it from you. You're just hopefully passing something along that they can then use to improve whatever it is they're doing. And it's, again, it's not just business, it's not just family, it's kind of across the board, right? So I think I want to be good at that. I try to be good at that. I also really try to be a good friend to people, and a good brother, and a good son, and a good father to people. Well, one person in the last case, but
Yeah.
because again, I think that's just important. I think if people trust you, if people like you, they respect you, then that's the recipe for long-term relationships. That's where really good things can come from you, whether it's personal relationships, friendships, or business relationships. Only positive can come from those interactions and those relationships. So it's a huge thing. Again, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a talent necessarily, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
hidden or not. I don't want it to be hidden, but
No, no, no.
I think those are
It's a
probably the two things
gift.
I would say that are important. Golf. I'm a hack. I've been a hack for 30 years since I picked up the club. I like playing, but all the guys I play with take my money, so that's not a talent.
That's not a talent.
That's not a talent. That's a lack of talent. But
A lack of talent.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
hilarious. That's awesome. Okay, so that sounds good. All right, so here we go. Real quick,
Yeah,
relationship. It rang a bell, because obviously for me that's one of the most important things. Because and like you said, not only your business relationships, but relationship in your house, relationship with yourself as well.
absolutely.
Self-love and just relationships. Why is relationship really important in your everyday life and everything that you do?
I think first, like I said, first and foremost, it's building trust with people, and when you have trust, then great things can happen, right? You have talent that I don't would never dream of having, and vice versa. So everyone has something special to offer, and if you're paying attention, which hopefully I am, you're gonna meet people. You're gonna learn from. I learned from you. I learned from Michael. I learned from the guys. Spiritually. I'm in second grade learning this stuff from you guys. So, there's always something that you can take away from somebody else, and without trust and without the relationship, you'll just never get there. It'll be
Absolutely.
superficial. It'll be, hey, how you doing? Things are good, but it won't evolve into something that's meaningful, or not, or at least not as meaningful as it could be, unless you let yourself open up to that and be willing to say, hey, I got a lot to learn. I hope I'm still learning stuff, when I'm almost done here. I'm hoping I'm learning, and I know I
Absolutely.
will be, because I'll be looking to do that. But yeah, it's a huge component. Certainly, it's obvious in family relationships and friendships. It's obvious, right?
Yeah.
Business the same.
Do,
Business is the best scenario would be a successful business where you're surrounded with people who consider you to be a friend, trust your judgment, listen to you, know that you're listening to them, and build something that collectively you can't build individually. The sum of the parts is greater than the whole.
And do you feel like if someone's not continuing to learn or allowing that to happen, do you think it's a pride thing, or do you think, that either not just that they know it all, but they feel that, they may not gain from someone else, or is that like like I would say a recipe for failure at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mistake. People do that. People make mistakes. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's a mistake not to try to recognize that. It's a
Mm,
mistake to minimize it, or to assume that it's not of value. Um, in my personal opinion, right? And one example that I've used, and I've talked to people about, particularly since I met you guys and I was saved. One of the things that I would tell people, business people, or aspiring business people, is I would say, do the right thing by other people, even if you're only acting in your own self-interest. Now, do it because you want to do the right thing, and do it because it's a Christian thing to do.
sure.
Yes, of course, or the moral thing, or the right thing. of course. But if you ignored that and just said, what would be in my best interest as a business person, or best interest in my success as a business person, doing right by other people will lead to, you don't know what, unlimited potential within the relationship that you have with whoever that person you're dealing with. If you don't do that, there's a really good chance that that relationship ends with a single transaction, a single moment, a single opportunity or job.
Sure.
If you go beyond that, then it could be 10. It could be your partner for the next 30 years. It could be, you don't know what that's going to be. And if you're not open to that, you're closing off a big opportunity.
Wow, that's so
But
valuable.
do it
Yeah,
anyway. Do it because you're a
absolutely.
good guy. You know.
Sure, and that's
But
important.
the old saying, nice guys finish last. I don't believe that.
I like that. So it's not facts, I would say.
I don't
That's
believe
true.
so. Yeah, I
I
don't think
don't
so.
agree either.
Right.
All right, Bill. So we're ready. It's getting heavy. About to
Uh-oh.
go to level 3. This level 3 is a little bit fun. And we're gonna go right there right now. All right. Boom. Level 3. This one is a top 5. I already know some of them already. It's gonna be Michigan. I know it has to be in there, but it's gonna be top 5 of sports teams, music, and food. All right. So I think I know
Wow.
some of them, but I want you to kind of your top 5 for each one for the people.
Got it. All right. Well, I just for the audience out there, he did give me a little cheat sheet, so I was prepared a little bit for this. Otherwise, I'd just be up here rambling. Maybe I am anyway. But sports teams. I really only have one. I'm a University of Michigan guy. I'm
Yes,
always going to
sir.
be. I went and saw a University of Michigan football game my first Saturday in Ann Arbor, and didn't know much about football. Wasn't a particularly good football player in high school. In fact, I might have been the worst one that ever went through all that high school.
Well,
And
listen, Bill, real quick. So you may have been the worst one, but I know the best one came from Michigan as well.
from the University of Michigan, that's correct. Yeah,
Come
absolutely.
on,
The
Mr.
GOAT, man.
Brady
He's
himself. That
so I'm going to transition this. I know it's your show, but I'm going to transition into players instead, because I have some favorite players and specific
absolutely.
reasons why, right? And so, Brady's obviously one of them. Tom Brady's a guy who was somewhat unheralded, was sixth on the depth chart when he got to Michigan. Ultimately, he was a good player. He was a really good player by the time he ended up getting drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my father earlier when I was talking to him that, the story gets bigger and bigger every year about how good he was or not good when he got drafted, but he still got drafted, right?
Absolutely.
So, but that's a guy that faced adversity. That's a guy that worked hard. He kept his head down, did it right. He seems to be a guy, fairly humble guy.
Yep.
In spite of all of his successes. And of course, he's been the most successful, the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. So obviously a guy that worked hard, exceptional talent combined with hard work. And I think combined with some humility and perseverance. I mean, the guy did it all and he got the results. And I think that you can apply that formula in a lot of places in your life, not just sports. Obviously, that's what's worked for him. Along those same lines, when I was growing up, I was a huge Dr. J fan. I played basketball. My buddies in college, my nickname was Doc. I had his
Come
jersey.
on.
So Dr.
Doc.
J was the guy, right? And
Yes, he
he
was.
was the same thing, exceptional talent with a combination of grace and humility. I mean, he's not a guy talking a lot. He's not a guy making controversial statements. Just a guy going out there and being the absolute best at what he did. And so there's obvious reasons to
That
appreciate that
combination.
approach, love a guy like
Combination
that.
seems like it's a recipe for success right there.
Absolutely. So quick story. I was in a really bad car accident. I was 19. I was a huge Dr. J fan. I broke my neck. I was out for a long time. So I was in a 6-month or 8-month window where I was really in a dark place, really unhappy. And back then, this is a long time ago. I'm going to date myself a little bit, but I got a Federal Express from the Chicago Bulls with a signed picture of Michael Jordan. It was his rookie year. And it said, "Get well soon, Michael Jordan." It was great. I was
Oh
so
my
excited.
God.
And so I told my dad, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to, I'm getting I got a little pep in my step, right? So
Yeah.
I said, I'm probably going to get one from Doc next. So week and a half later, I get a FedEx in the mail with a photo signed by Doc and a letter. And the letter said, my spies have told me you've been hurt. God bless you. Hope you're doing well.
Wow.
All this stuff, right? But have them framed, for memorabilia. I'm not a big memorabilia guy, but obviously those are different, right?
Yeah.
So I told my dad, I said, if I ever, this was a 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid. The idea that I would meet Dr. J someday was silly, right?
Yeah.
But I said, if I ever meet Dr. J, I want to personally thank him. So fast forward, I'm here in Florida. I'm playing in a charity golf tournament. I'm the biggest Dr. J fan on the planet, right? Back when I was growing up. My wife and I are getting food. We sit down at a table. I look across, and
Oh my
the
God.
table next to me is this older guy, gray hair, kind of hunched over a little bit, had a young wife, couple little kids with him. And I'm looking at him, and I said to Deb, I said, "That's Doc." And
You must have been shocked.
he's like, "No, it's not." I go, "It's got to be." I go, "It's got to be." He doesn't
It's
look
gotta
like
be.
him, but it's got to be Doc, right? So he's, I'm like nervous, which I don't really
Of
get nervous
course.
like that.
You're a fan,
I'm
man. You're a
nervous. I'm
fan.
going to meet one of my heroes, right? So he starts packing up the diaper bag. He's getting ready to go. And I go, "Well, if it's not him, I'm going to embarrass myself, but I got to go over there." I told my dad, I got to go over there, right? So I go over there, tap him on the shoulder. I said, "Doc." And he turns around. He goes, "Yes, young man." And I told him a story. I said, I was going through this time. You probably don't remember this. You sent me this thing. And I just want to thank you. I told my dad I would thank you in person someday, and I wanted to thank
Oh
you.
my God.
And he stood up and he gave me a little hug, and he said, "God bless you. Are you doing all right?" I said, "I'm doing great, Doc." He goes,
Oh
"That's great
my
to hear."
God.
And then
That's amazing.
he packed up his little kids and his diaper bag, and he left.
That
So
is
I had a chance
amazing.
to
How
thank
long
Dr.
ago
J.
was that?
Oh man, that would have been probably 15 years ago, something
That's,
like
oh
that.
my God, Bill. I didn't know the story.
So
You
yeah,
did.
it's cool.
This
That's
is
cool.
awesome. There you go.
So a couple of others, Jordan, obviously ultimate competitor, was
You
never
ever met him in a
outworked.
golf or anything like that? In one of the tournaments or anything like
Who's
that?
that?
Have you
Dr.
met
J?
Mike? Yeah, Michael.
Oh, I've never met Michael Jordan, no.
Okay. Because he's big
Just
in
got to
golf.
know. I did. So another funny story. I'll leave these other guys out. There's one more I want to mention, but I'll keep going on Doc because he was always the best. He was
Yeah.
my guy. So the next year we were sponsors of this tournament, so they had this tournament, celebrities come every year. So we were the sponsors of the tournament. So the guy comes back to me and he goes, "Will you sponsor it again this year?" And I said, I'll sponsor it again this year under one condition. And he's like, "Well, what's that?" And I go, "That Dr. J is the celebrity in my foursome." I said, "I don't care if the president's coming. I don't care if the Pope's coming.
Give me Dr.
I
J.
don't I don't care who else is going to be there." I said, "I want Dr. J in my foursome. I'll
Yep.
sponsor the." He
Oh
didn't
my
play that year.
God.
So
Oh man.
but funny story anyway, right?
That is
So
awesome.
I haven't had a chance to meet him since. I've tried. I know a couple people that know him. I've been trying to see if I can arrange it, but I haven't been able to arrange it yet. But maybe someday. I never thought I'd meet him. So
Absolutely. And it
maybe I'll get
happened.
to hit the
It was
ball around with him.
organic too. It was organic, man. That's so
Yeah, maybe I'll
awesome.
hit the ball around with him someday.
That'd be great.
Uh,
That is cool.
the other one I'll mention, which I think is a great story, and again, back to the Fab Five in Michigan. I met all those guys, and they were most of them were great. Juwan Howard, who's the coach there, basketball coach now, great guy. I'd love to meet him again and reminisce a little bit because we spent some time together and had some lunches and stuff. He was a great guy,
Oh wow.
and also very humble, very, very, very good guy. Really tough background, overcame a lot of adversity, and now he's a great guy, great man, great leader of men, great coach, very successful guy, and also humble, very humble guy. But Jalen Rose was really the leader of that team,
Yep.
and I met him, and back then he was a tough kid, man. He was from Detroit, really rough part of Detroit.
Yep.
A guy who really grew up with no advantages other than his obvious basketball and physical talents.
Yep.
But as far as background, family, environment. I mean, it couldn't have come from a tougher situation, right? And so you look at that guy and you see a lot of those guys come and go in the pros and sports and things. And that Jalen Rose
Yep.
has since, he's an unlikely success story. He had a good NBA career.
He was amazing.
He's an international celebrity now in the sports commentary business on ESPN.
Yep. He's
But even
great.
more important than that is that he went back and he set up a charter school in Detroit
Oh, I didn't know that.
for underprivileged kids, and it is the single most successful charter school ever established in the state of Michigan, as far as I know.
Oh my goodness.
Waiting list every year, kids applying to get there, and pays scholarships for kids that graduate from it. So a great example of a guy who came from a place that was tough, and didn't forget where he came from, has gone back and is making a real difference. And so to meet that kid at 18 or 19, and who he was at that point and who we all were, when we were
Hmm.
19,
And
right?
what he's doing now,
Knuckleheads,
man, that's
a bunch of
amazing.
knuckleheads.
Yeah.
To look at that and to look at what it's become is probably not as well publicized as many stories, but phenomenal story,
I think
phenomenal
that's
guy.
awesome. I didn't know that about Jalen Rose
Yeah,
and that he had that school. And I think that that's what more people should do. And I, for me, like that for me is purpose. Like that for me actually, has value, right? Because if you're just
right.
gonna kind of like learn or do other stuff for yourself and it's like a selfish thing, you see how many, shiny objects you can get. There's no point in that. But when you
None.
see help somebody else or see, the fruits of your labor or someone else benefits from it, someone else that has gone through similar situations, and all of a sudden you didn't have that growing up, and all of a sudden somebody else has a way that you were able to create, so that they don't have to go through the same thing. I think that's purpose, and that's what's amazing.
Absolutely. There's a concept in business called force multiplier. And what that means is you apply something, whether it's capital, whether it's talent, whether it's labor, whatever it might be, you apply something to a situation and it has an exponentially positive effect on the result, right?
Hmm.
And uh, establishing a charter school in the city of Detroit and having 80 to 100, I'm not sure exactly what the enrollment is, I might get that wrong, but
Yeah.
to have 80 to 100 people go through that, change their lives, that's a force multiplier. Those 80 to 100 kids every year, then what do they do
Oh
with
my
what
God.
that opportunity they've been given, right?
Yep.
And so that's as as great as you could do, right?
Absolutely.
And to do it out of the goodness of your heart, right? When you could just go and do whatever else, you could live the life and with a lot of money and
And
jet
that's it.
around. It's
Absolutely.
pretty spectacular.
And I can imagine those kids, how many more kids will probably make it professionally or in business? How many more kids maybe start another school to pass it on and do the same thing? So
Who
I think
knows,
that's so
right?
amazing. Absolutely.
Unlimited potential could come from
Absolutely. What
that.
about what about music, Bill? Tell me about music.
Yeah.
Who's your top?
So, yeah, music is, I got a pretty diverse taste. I
I like
got,
it.
I'll probably surprise you for a 57-year-old guy, but I got obviously classic rock. Grew up with that.
Yep.
I got R&B in there, the Detroit influence growing up, and
Okay.
the old stuff, the old Motown, all the way, even on beyond that. Have some hip hop in there.
You got a good old Eminem from Detroit in
Oh
there?
yeah, we got some Eminem, got some Kid Rock on there.
I love K-Rock.
It's interesting. It's something I started listening to a little bit because my daughter did. Started listening
Sure.
to a little bit more, and like some of the messages I don't. Those aren't the songs I listen to.
I
But
agree.
no, I mean it's a phenomenon and it's interesting and I enjoy it. I've always liked the blues. Going to Chicago when I was
Hmm.
younger and single, we'd go to blues clubs down there, and so that's obviously just the talent and required to generate that is phenomenal. Right now, I'm listening to more current country type music,
Yep.
primarily because I grew up on classic rock music, and that was back then, the messaging was a little bit more positive, and it's
It
not
was.
anymore. It's negative now. And so some of the country, it's almost more Southern rock now. A lot of similar guitar and that in it, but the themes are better. The themes are more positive. It's love and patriotism and family and hometown and things like that. So I just respond to that a little bit better
Of
than
course.
what's
What
current rock type
Why do you
music.
think there's been like a shift in that, and not just music, but I've seen that happen in a lot of multiple things, more towards like the negative and things like that.
It's hard to know. The country's divided. It's a divisive environment right now,
Hmm.
and so it's almost, you can almost see people picking sides, if you will. Some people want to pick the negative, want to pick the divisive, and other people want to pick the stuff that they're still proud of, that they, like
Sure.
I said, a lot of country music. I never thought I'd listen to country music. I thought it was kind of funny when I was growing up.
Hmm.
Everybody was driving a truck and, had an
Yeah.
ex-wife and whatever, the old jokes.
Yeah,
But
stigma.
it's really not like that now. And so when we were growing up, we were patriotic people. We loved our country. I still do. I love the people that defend our country. And so there's more of that in country music than any of the other genres right now.
Hmm.
And so that's where I currently gravitate towards that. No particular artist, one over the other. It's more songs and messaging.
No, awesome. What about foods,
Yeah.
Bill? Italiano,
Well,
Mexican.
no, I mean, I'm an all-American boy, man. I grew up in a small town. When I could start buying steaks and eating steaks, I thought
Oh
that
my
was a big
God.
deal, man.
Yeah.
The steaks we used to eat when I was a kid were the kind you pound out. You beat them to get them soft enough to eat them. So I'm a meat and potatoes guy. I'm a steak guy.
I love it.
Nothing green. I don't want to eat anything green.
Nothing great.
No vegetables. I want to
Nothing
eat that
great.
stuff.
I'm the same way.
No, that's for
With some
rabbits.
wine.
That's for rabbits.
Okay.
So yeah,
I,
a good steak, good glass of red wine, and a
I
cigar,
love
and
it.
uh, you know,
I can have that
how
every
much
day.
better can it be?
Exactly. All right, Bill. So let's go. Let's go to number four.
Yeah,
Level four. Here we go. Yes. This one, level four, it's a brief, maybe a little bit about your testimony,
yeah.
how your career got started in the business. I definitely want you to get into that a little bit, and different steps for success as well that you've gone through a little bit already. I've heard some gems, so make sure everybody's writing this stuff down because it's important for your business. But speak a little bit about that, and I definitely want you to kind of go into how you got to where you're at now. And I see the hat that you have, and I love it. And that's one of them,
Got to get you one of those,
promotion
man.
there. Yeah, please, man. I would have put it on today. So so
Should have
yeah.
thought of that. Um, yeah, it's I was single. I was out of school, business school. I was going to go conquer the world. I was going to go make money. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to climb the ladder like everybody. Every step was a means to get to the next step, and so
Mm.
very driven, very focused, but focused on that.
Yep.
Success, money, fancy stuff. A lot of people are like that, not making
Yep.
excuses, but that's who I was, and so always driven. Self-made, self-educated. Paid for my college, always wanting, but with an eye towards that. That was my priority. Good, bad, or otherwise. That's what it was. So
Yeah.
and then I always wanted to be on my own. I wanted to start my own business. Didn't have, wealthy family behind me, didn't have those opportunities or resources. So I was building, waiting, looking for an opportunity, always trying to position myself so that I would be more attractive or more valuable if and when I ever got a chance to do something like that.
Yep.
And so I got a great opportunity, what I thought in 2005, to go out on my own and be a real estate developer. I partnered with two great guys, and we built a hotel, and it's a beautiful hotel. It's here.
Love
It
it.
still exists. But our timing was terrible, and so we went through a horrible time with it. 2008 and 9,
Sure.
went through bankruptcy. personal and business. And this dream that I had had for 15 or 20 years or whatever it was kind of just taken away. I mean, it just was, one day it was, I was this close, and the next day it was over. And I didn't recognize it was over, but it almost happened that fast.
Wow.
And so a lot of soul searching, a lot of, what could I have done better? Where did I mess up? Maybe I made, a lot of second guessing, can I do, maybe I wasn't good enough to do this,
Wow.
a lot of doubts and fears that I had either suppressed or just had never really considered. And so, my world, financial and business wise, my world collapsed, right?
Hmm.
And so it was around that time, or during that time, when I was introduced to you guys, you and Michael and some other folks there at church. I'd been agnostic. My dad was agnostic, so I was agnostic. I mean,
Yep.
my dad was my hero. Good enough for dad, good enough for me, right? So
That's
that was how I was. So wasn't a bad guy. Was raised to not lie, don't cheat, don't steal, all the things I said earlier. So I wasn't that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wasn't, my eye wasn't in the, my eyes weren't in the right place. I mean, I was chasing something that was somewhat illusory as I look back on it, somewhat insignificant.
Yeah.
Wealth and, cars and watches and suits and whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's, it's a game you can never really win, right? You got 3 houses, the next guy's got 5.
There you go.
Now you want 5. And his 5 are bigger than your 5. So they want 5 bigger
Exactly.
ones. So it's an endless thing, and there's no real satisfaction in it.
Ooh.
But I was that guy, and until that one thing that I thought was so important was just brutally taken away from me, right? And so, I kind of came to the realization over meeting you guys and getting involved at the church and getting involved with people that, frankly, I wouldn't have probably crossed paths with.
Yeah.
Whether it's, a lot of the good you guys do and did and do with people that are, disadvantaged. It wasn't a priority. It's not something I would have sought out. I'm embarrassed to say, but I wouldn't have.
Wow.
And so I was exposed to a lot of that at a time when, I was kind of feeling sorry for myself. And so it helped me get my head around that. It helped me reprioritize. It made me focus on my family so that it didn't get ripped apart like my business did.
Yep.
And so it was really a life-changing time for me where my priorities got completely reset. A lot of people say that, and and then a year later they're back doing what they were doing.
Yep.
There's no question it happened to me.
Now, let me ask you real quick then.
Yeah.
So, do you feel, obviously not at the moment, but now, do you feel that that's one of the most, the best things that has happened to you? Obviously, aside from your kids and things like, but like one of the, as far as business wise, is it one of the best things that has happened to you when you look back at it now?
Hard to describe it as best.
Okay.
Valuable, yeah.
Okay.
Invaluable, frankly. Would I do it again? I wouldn't want to,
Yeah.
but and I wouldn't want anyone else to.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want anybody to go through it. But most successful business people have a story or two like that.
Yeah.
You fail, you learn more from failure than you do success. Success kind of just it just kind of confirms whatever your personal bias is, right? It doesn't help you improve, doesn't give you a reason to improve. Gives you a reason to kind of relax, right? Got to take your foot off the gas, get a little overconfident. Hard to do that in that situation when you're failing, and then ultimately when you fail, hard to not take something away from that. Now,
Yep.
some people it destroys them, right? It can be difficult for sure. It is difficult, but you look at that and you say you can curl up in a ball or you can dust yourself off, and some people do the former and some people do the latter. And fortunately, I was able to to dust myself off, but that came with unbelievable support from my parents, from
Yep.
my wife. My daughter was too young to know it, but her reaction to it or lack of reaction to it was a
Yep.
form of support for it. And then I tell people all the time, guys like you, guys like Michael, I mean, you guys were strangers to me. You guys were strangers to me at a time when I needed I needed a friend, right? I needed help. I needed somebody that was positive, that was going to say, hey, you know what, you're great, dude. You're not the guy. You're not bad. You're not, And that was a huge thing for me. So you learn a lot about people. You learn about the people that are there for you when it's good, and maybe not when you aren't. And
Sure.
then if you're fortunate enough and blessed enough, you meet people like you guys that don't care.
Hmm.
You don't care that happened. You
Yep.
don't care. And again, what was great about it is that it happened at a time when, when like I said, we were strangers.
That's
You
right.
guys are younger than me. You're better looking than me. You're more athletic than me. You want to hang
Nah.
around with the old guy,
Mhm.
and listen to him go on and on. So, no, in all seriousness, that was a huge thing. And so, it kind of helps you get back your head right. It helps you realize that people are good, and see the positives in situations, and not wallow in the negative.
Absolutely.
It's a huge thing, you know.
So,
Um,
you got built up, Bill, and what's amazing that I've known, you've had multiple opportunities for development, right? Real estate development. What is it? Obviously we got the golf club and things like that. So is that something that you had in mind to do always, or is just kind of like something that just happened?
it kind of just happened. So, purely from a business perspective, what I learned from going through what I went through was, you learn, as I mentioned, you learn a whole lot going through a horrible situation,
You failed,
how
yeah.
situations are dealt with, how they end, who wins, who loses, why, what was really going on, how does it get worked out. And again, fortunately, I was able to learn from that. I was able to apply that new knowledge. And you don't learn that in a book. You don't learn that in
Sure.
college or grad school. You learn some of it, but you don't really learn that, right? You learn it by going through it on the wrong side of the table. And so absolutely, I've taken from that. I've become extremely proficient at that very narrow niche, which is distress situations, investing and restoring, recovering distress situations. That's not something that you're going to be born with. It's certainly not something that you set out to do
Yep.
necessarily. I wasn't sitting there in business school at 21 years old going, I'm going to be a distress situation workout guy. I mean, you don't think like that. But
Hmm.
absolutely, it's invaluable now. And it generally, whether that's what you've picked up along the way, you've learned, whatever your experience set is. One thing I did learn is that you have a much higher likelihood of success doing something, one, that you really enjoy doing,
Yep.
and two, something that you're really proficient at. That a lot of that's experience, a lot of that's teaching yourself, a lot of it's doing it repetition, some of it's doing it wrong, figuring it out, failing and figuring it out again.
Hmm.
But you and Michael, you guys give me a hard time because my line is, you can either be the cheapest or the best,
For
and
the
you'll never
best,
be the
never be
cheapest.
the cheapest.
So, if you find something that you're the best at, find something that you can really excel at, that you like doing, and apply your particular skill set to that, and your
Hmm.
energy and your drive and your determination, and then draw on anybody that'll listen, anybody that will help, that can supplement your level of experience, willing to help, and then run at it. And that's a pretty good recipe for success.
There you go. I love that, Bill. So you heard it, guys. Just keep going at it. Recipe for success. And tell me that quote again, real quick, Bill. That you'll never be
You you
the
you you
best.
you either have to be
The
the
best.
cheapest or the best, and
Okay.
you'll never be the cheapest.
So you gotta be the
You got to be the
best,
best. You got to
basically.
be the best.
I love it. No, that's awesome. And being humble about it, man. So what I've been hearing that word a lot, is humility. A lot of the people from Dr. J, from Tyson, well, maybe not Tyson as humble, but now I've seen a change in him. So a lot of the people with Brady, just the humility, and continuing and then failing, right? So even the
Right.
Brady situation, he not necessarily failed, but he wasn't a top top, Heisman and all this other stuff. But he rose from that, right? It was a learning. And if
Absolutely.
I'm not mistaken, one of the things that helped him, I think I saw something in this documentary where he saw a notebook. He didn't know if it was actually on purpose or not on purpose, but he saw a notebook where his coach listed a bunch of stuff in that notebook of stuff that he needed help with, right? Like he's not fast, he needs help with it. So that triggered something in him to say, you know what, I'm gonna work on every single thing on that list
Right.
and made him basically, I would say, the greatest of all time. You know what I mean? In
Oh
my
yeah,
opinion.
absolutely. In football for sure. Yeah. And even
So
Tyson, I mean, the Tyson quote about, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
yeah,
That's a quote that shows he has humility as well. Maybe not
absolutely.
when he was younger, and us either,
A
right?
little
But
attitude.
yeah, us either. But that shows humility. That's a guy that recognizes that he's not the smartest guy, and he's doing the best he can, right?
That's so awesome, man. I love it. All
Yeah.
right, Bill. So let's go to rooftop. That's the next level. And for this one, on the rooftop, talk a little bit about inspiration, motivation, anything, future projects that you have, and basically a nice word of encouragement. I'm gonna share something that you passed to me, and I want to maybe start off with that if you like, and I'll put it up there for you. So let's go to the rooftop. All right, rooftop it is. So tell me what this is all about, Bill.
So this is one of my favorite quotes. So you see a lot of inspirational quotes. This is one of my favorite quotes. I read this. I read the first time I read this. I said to Deb, "This is your husband. This is your guy right here." So I'll just read it to everybody. I love reading it anyway. It's a great inspiration to me. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
man in the arena, and it's from Teddy Roosevelt. And it says, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does exactly strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat."
Ooh.
Love that quote. Getting teared up.
Yep. That's powerful.
Teddy
That's
Roosevelt's got some good stuff. That's his best, but he's worth reading if you got some time.
No, I'm definitely gonna look him up. That's
Yeah.
powerful. Talk a little bit about that then.
Well, again, it's what's interesting is back to Tom Brady real quick. Not that this is about Tom Brady necessarily, but I mean I think the bookie or the series that they wrote about him is called The Man in the Arena, and
Yeah.
I think it's based somewhat on this quote, or at least a corollary to the message in that. And basically what it says is number one, you got to go, you got to try. You got to go out there. Nothing great has been done by the guy sitting on the couch telling you that he could have done it or you didn't do it right, or
Yeah.
the critic, right? The critics don't, they just talk. They're not out there doing anything. Nothing great will ever be done by somebody who's criticizing the efforts of others.
Absolutely.
So number one, you got to ignore that anyway. You got to get past that. You got to be strong enough to think past what somebody might say about it. In business, anybody that tells you that it's easy has never done it. Anybody
Hmm.
that tells you that somebody that's successful was lucky has never done it,
Hmm.
because it's not the case.
That's right.
It's maybe in very few exceptions somebody quote unquote gets lucky, but luck is earned. Luck is hard work. Luck
Hmm.
is opportunity is being prepared for the opportunity when it presents itself, and recognizing it when it presents itself. Um, Everybody's presented with the same opportunities almost on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Some people seize them, some people ignore them, some people don't even know they're there, right?
Wow.
And there's example after example of that. So that's what this is about. This quote, I think it's a great quote. It sums up what's required to succeed. What happens if you fail? Is it the end all be all? No, because something
Mm,
good comes from that too. You still have had the opportunity to try. You put your effort towards something, a noble cause, as Teddy says. And if you fail at worst, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you gave it everything you had. And the critic, the guy who never does that, doesn't get the benefit or the joy of success, or the benefit or the knowledge of failure. Doesn't get either one.
oh my God, that's so powerful. And I was gonna ask you, Bill, what do you have anything brewing right now? Any future projects? I know you got the Idaho Club. For those of you that don't know what it is, look it up. Go on Instagram, Facebook, go on the website, put the Idaho Club. It's an amazing, luxurious golf club, and talk a little bit about it. Maybe some future projects that you have going on, Bill.
Sure. So the Idaho Club is an example of taking the knowledge and the experience and the bad experience, all roll that all into one from the project that I had that failed, and applying that to a very similar situation,
Mm,
that again from the other side of the table, saw an opportunity, saw again through my mostly negative experiences,
mm,
how it could be fixed, how
mm.
I could be the one that does it, or one of the people that could do it.
That's right.
Focusing on it, being the guy in the arena, dusting myself off, getting back out there, trying it
Come on.
again, and trying to do it better this time. And knock on wood, so far it's working.
So
And
far, so good.
it's a beautiful place. It's a golf course community in northern Idaho, in God's country up there. You could get you out there and check it out.
I'm going. I told my
Um,
wife already. I'm saving up. I'm about to go over there, and it's going to be
it's one of the
amazing.
most beautiful places in the country. It's a beautiful project, and it's something that we can be proud of. My daughter works there with me, which is also great.
That's awesome.
And so it's it's a business. It's a business opportunity that came about through a massive, spectacular failure, as I describe it.
That's right.
That turned for good. And blessed to be in that position. Thank God for it.
That's right.
And thank God for you guys and everybody along the way who wouldn't let me stay down too long.
Come on, and we're still not going to let you,
I
regardless.
appreciate that, man.
We're
Appreciate
going to
that.
keep it going.
I'll return the favor. Hopefully I won't have to.
Absolutely. We're going to work on some stuff together, Bill. I
Yes,
love it.
sir. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Looking
so
forward to it.
I really appreciate you, Bill. Appreciate your time. And again, look it up, guys. Idaho Club. It's amazing. We're here in the elevator, on the rooftop, and I feel that it's going to be very inspiring. So I really appreciate your time, and I know a lot of people are going to benefit from your story. And it's just the beginning. So we're gonna keep on keeping on.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you for your time. I love you, man. You're my brother, and
Love you.
best of luck with this thing. I'll be
Yes,
working
sir.
for you someday, kid.
Let's go. We work together. God bless you, Bill.
Bless you too, brother.